Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Baptiste Orthodontic Stadium. For the first time in over 6 months, other than the volleyball game we had earlier in this week, we are live and ready to bring you some Mustang athletic action, this time against the East River Falcons. My name is Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs, coming to you along with Neil Fisher from the Apopka Chief, as we have been for the last 13 years, ever since Wekiva opened in 2007, and this will be the belated, but better late than never, beginning of season number 14. And so, Neil, the Mustangs are looking to build on a season last year that maybe was not as successful as they had hoped, but certainly had the beginnings and the elements of something special. And the Mustangs, while they are losing a few key skill positions to graduation, they are on the whole well positioned with their returning players.
Well, thank you again, Mark. And yes, it is good to be back here at Baptiste Orthodontic Stadium. As you mentioned, the first time in 6 months, except for Monday. That was actually our very, very first time in the athletics in general. But this is our first time in 6 months we have actually been here at the football stadium. So as you mentioned, Mark, some question marks, of course, with the pandemic, unable to get any opportunity beyond 2 weeks. Really, all you can do in those 2 weeks is work on the fundamentals, get your team back acclimated to running the fundamentals and getting back used to being in football pads, and just work on the basics such as lining up properly, learning how to execute the fundamentals without committing penalties, and really learning the system over again. So the good news for Wekiva is that they returned 17 starters from last year, which in normal times would, of course, be an advantage, but with the pandemic and only having those 2 weeks, and as I just described, not being able to really do a lot of the more specific, detailed items that you like to do during the fall practice, having those 17 returners will be even more so important. Perhaps the biggest position, though, that the biggest absent is, of course, the quarterback, Bobby Sear. He graduated last year, but they did have some good fortune in the fact that junior Maradovic, number 11, decided to transfer here from Oak Ridge. Not much was known about him, but he is a quarterback who does come in with some experience, at least as far as being on the varsity team, so at least some understanding. It's not like a culture shock going from never playing to playing, but Maradovic will be taking over the quarterback position. He's a bit on the taller side, a little bit over 6 feet tall. Has some areas he needs to work on in terms of being more polished, but he does throw a very nice tight spiral, a good enough spiral that his receivers can get to the ball. He's very good at throwing lead passes. And then, of course, Wekiva, most importantly for them, they return their running backs, Chad Davis, number 2, and Amari Thomas. Very powerful, a lot of strength. They run the ball. They like to run the ball up the middle between the tackles a lot. And we saw that in their 7 victories last year. That was the formula. Thomas and Davis didn't run the ball quite as much during the first half between the tackles. But once Wekiva got the lead, they kept that lead with Davis and Thomas running between the tackles, just chewing up the yards there, keeping the chains moving, as they say. And they also have 4 of their 5 starting offensive linemen coming back. So great gel there. And of course, no running back is successful without a very strong front line, offensive line in front of them. So that's the situation for Wekiva on offense.
Yeah, and Neil, let's also not forget about the defense. The Mustangs return senior linebackers Luther Johnson and Johnny Chaney, who combined for 10 sacks last season. They are among 9 returning starters on defense and 17 starters in all for the Mustangs. So what Wekiva lacks in depth on the offensive and defense, team that is certainly rebuilding. Wekiva won that game last season.
35-7.
35-17. Uh,
35 to 7.
35 to 7, excuse me. And this year, East River, when I was doing their roster earlier today, they had, I believe, 2/3 of their players are new to Varsity Falcons this year. So again, certainly you never want to count them out. They certainly bring a threat here to Baptiste Orthodontic Stadium, but at least numerically, they would be the underdogs tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And what East River did last year in order to stop that rushing game, that power rushing game, was they loaded the box. They went with 7 up front, and not just like 7 total off defensive linemen and linebackers. They actually lined 7 men from the left to the right side of the field across the defensive line. They dropped one back. He was a safety that came up, and they dropped him back into the linebacker coverage. Now, again, so the way that you beat a defense that plays that way with the 7 in the box is you go to the passing game. To be honest, Wekiva's passing game was nothing to write home about, but it was good enough to get that. It was good enough to force East River to have to pay attention to it. And then, of course, once East River started paying attention to it, some gaps developed at the line, and Davis and Thomas were able to get yards. Again, it was nothing spectacular in the rushing game, but they got 3-4 yards a clip, which, of course, if you do that, you'll keep earning first downs and keep possession of the ball. And you have not heard me say this for 6 months, Mark, but the most important thing about when you keep getting 3 and 4 yards at a clip is that means you keep possession of the ball. And if you have possession of the ball, the team that has possession of the ball means they're not going to get scored on. So that was the game set last year. Wekiva went to the passing game. Again, it wasn't anything to write home about. That was not the intention. It wasn't meant to be spectacular. It was meant to be good enough to be able to get those 3 or 4 yards and open up those holes in the defensive line against the 7-man box. I also like to point out, too, as you mentioned, Mark, this was a team that I would say probably, if you look at their season last year, a B. They went 7-3 and then lost their first-round playoff game against East Fleming. It was the 4th consecutive season Wekiva has earned a berth into the FHSAA postseason tournament, or if you prefer, the state playoffs. Now, they did make it to the state semifinals one year, but generally speaking, they have not been consistent in getting past that watershed of being able. They now consistently get into the playoffs, but now they have to learn to win in the playoffs. Of course, that's going to be somewhat different this year with the pandemic, and it's going to be a little bit different as far as the qualifying. But that is pretty much where Wekiva is right now. They, you can expect them to win 7-8 games every year. It's a question of what they can do to take that next step.
All right, Neil. Well, we do have a few fans in attendance tonight, so let's welcome them now. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Wekiva High School welcomes you for the first time of this abridged 2020 football season to Baptiste Orthodontic Stadium for varsity football competition. Please welcome our guests from East River High School. They are the Falcons. And they'll be taking on your Wekiva High School Mustangs. Before we begin our game this evening, we ask that you please stand and remove your hats as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem, performed tonight live on tape by your Mustang Marching Band. So, Neil, while that certainly didn't feel quite the same as having the marching band out there on the field, it does, at least in a partial way, feel much at home and a much missed part of the experience. I believe it was early November was the last time we had the privilege of introducing the teams and the national anthem here at Baptiste Orthodontic Stadium, and it's quite the homecoming to be able to do it again here for season 14.
Yeah, again, Mark, just mentioned it a little bit earlier, but last season ended for Wekiva with a loss on the road in the first round of the playoffs to Fleming Island. Fleming Island is up in, I believe it was Clay County, about 70 miles east of Jacksonville, 70 miles west of Jacksonville. But as you said, Mark, we're very happy, very proud to once again be able to bring to you all the home games, this internet broadcast for all the home games. And it's particularly important from a tangible standpoint because, of course, we know that you guys can't come here and be in the stands, obviously. There's only about a dozen or so fans here tonight on the Wekiva side. So we know you're relying on technology and these broadcasts to be able to keep up with Wekiva, what's going on. We are proud to be able to do that and bring this broadcast to you in normal times, but even more so, of course, during the pandemic, when it's absolutely essential for you fans at home to be able to keep up with the Wekiva Mustangs. And also, too, we are very elated and happy to be here because it was just 6 weeks ago, I guess you might even be able to say 4 weeks ago, we didn't know if there was going to be any fall sports.
And it looks like East River has won the toss and elected to receive.
I don't have the roster for East River. Is there any way you can... Hey, Mark, I'm sorry for doing this at the last minute. Is there any way you could put the roster here? I don't have an East River roster.
This will lock every 15 seconds.
Oh, what?
It locks every 15 seconds. It has a security on it. Here we go. We are ready to get going with season 14 of Mustang football. Wekiva will be on defense first. All right, we are ready to get going. Wekiva will be on defense first, ready to kick off season 14 of Mustang football. And it's a low one. Kyle Tratner recovers the kickoff for the Falcons. Ball is spotted in Falcon territory at the 35-yard line, and that is where the Falcons will begin their first drive. So, Neil, maybe not exactly the gangbuster opening that Wekiva was looking for, but 35-yard line could do worse.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, Wekiva lines up in a 3-4. That's been their standard defense since Coach Bedison's come to Wekiva. And we have a stoppage here before the first game. I'm not sure exactly what the stoppage is for.
We're just resetting the clock there. You just saw it revert to 11:54. 6 seconds elapsed during the opening kickoff play. And now the Falcons will get ready to take their first snap of the ball game. Not much happening on that play. Nick Miner makes the handoff to Grayland Holland. A loss of 1 on the play. It brings up 2nd and 11 from the Falcons' own 34-yard line.
It's good penetration there by Wekiva up the middle. So East River lines up again in the one-back set. Probably see a lot of that tonight. Wekiva does the same in the shotgun.
Sack! Oh, you got a sack coming on here. Nick Miner is sacked by Mustangs' Johnny Cheney. Well, he had 10 sacks last season, and he's just picked up his first of this season.
Yeah, that's a name for you Wekiva fans there to get used to. The defensive lineman coming from the outside there.
A loss of 6 yards on the play. It brings up 3rd and 17 from the 28-yard line. All right, I see your feedback there that the mics are a little hot. We'll get those turned down for you.
So 3rd and long now for East River. So far, 2 plays in.
A loss of 1 on the play. It brings up 4th and 18. Yeah, the Falcons have moved all the wrong directions since taking possession, and they're going to have to punt the ball away.
Heavy pressure there. Punt was able to get off. And about as good a start as Wekiva could hope for. A 3 and out and then a really bad punt there. Heavy pressure by that special teams.
Punt rolls out of bounds at the 50-yard line, and so the Mustangs will begin their first offensive drive of the game from midfield.
So 1st and 10 here for Wekiva. Their first offensive play of the 2020 season. And Maradovic lines up under center for the first time, drops back.
It's a long one, and it's too long, in fact.
So we talked.
Pass intended for number 7, Johnny Cheney, falls incomplete. 2nd and 10 coming up from the Mustangs.
Yeah, we talked about in our pregame show, Mark, that last year East River went to a 7-man box, which basically means you're not having 4 and 3 at the linebacker, at the defensive line and the linebacker. We'll get back to that in a minute here. Out of the shotgun, Maradovic takes the snap, one back set, hands it off there to Davis. And some good
Chad
power.
Davis on the carry for the Mustangs. That's a pickup of 10 yards, or nearly 10 yards. We'll wait for the official signal.
So
it looks like officially it's going to be a gain of 9 yards and bring up 3rd and 1.
So that's one way to overcome that incomplete pass on the first down there, pick up 9 on the second. And we're going to get the running back lined up directly behind Maradovic. Hands off again to Davis up the middle.
He's got an opening. Chad Davis at the 10, the 5, touchdown Mustangs. Well, Neil, that's one way to start the game with a bang. 3 plays, and the Mustangs are already in the end zone. That was a 41-yard touchdown run. Chad Davis striking the first blow of the season for Wekiva.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, you combine that with the 3 and out that the defense put in, and just as good a start as any team could hope for. A big gaping hole there on the left side for Davis to ramble through. And they're going to go for the 2-point conversion. Well, that looked easy there. That pass to
Maradovic. Well, the pass to Isaiah Davis, and the 2-point conversion is good. The Mustangs take an 8-0 lead with 9 minutes, 59 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you here in the stadium, we want to let you know we do have cold drinks on sale at the concession stand right now. That is unfortunately the only item we are able to offer due to the current health situation, but we do encourage you to pick up some cold beverages now available at the concession stand. Oh, another worm burner, Neil. But also unable to capitalize, really, as the Falcons just fall on it. That is, John Starling makes the stop for the Falcons, and that is where they will take over for their second offensive possession. Mustangs got a little bit more yardage out of the kick this time. Ball is spotted at the 28-yard line. 1st and 10 Falcons.
So East River again goes back to the shotgun. Nick Miner under center.
And we've got some movement prior to the snap. That's an easy call. Dead ball prior to the snap. False start called against the offense. That's a 5-yard penalty and a repeat of 1st down.
So we'll be looking at 1st and 15 here, Mark. Again, Wekiva lines up in the 3-4. They've used that since Coach Bedison's come here 4 seasons ago. This is his 5th season at the helm. And by the way, Isaiah Davis, who caught that 2-yard conversion, he has 8 different college offers. All of them are D1, so look for that name. 2nd and 15 as East River lines up here. Miner takes the snap, drops back, incomplete, and that will bring up 2nd and long.
Pass is intended for Alex Garcia. It falls incomplete. 2nd and 15 coming up for the Falcons.
That penalty there throws your rhythm off, Mark. Second and 15 for East River. First game of the 2020 season here. Snap. Miner throws the ball. Incomplete again. Great defense there.
Pass intended for Dexter Coleman is broken up by Tamarian Foster and falls incomplete. That brings up 3rd and 15 for the Falcons.
So here in the early going, Mark, everything has gone Wekiva's way. They have yet to encounter any resistance on defense as East River will be facing 3rd and 15. I believe Nick Miner, the quarterback, has thrown 3 incomplete passes. In motion, Miner takes the snap. Over the middle, and another incomplete pass, but we're going to have a flag.
The pass intended for John Starling falls incomplete. Flag on the play, pass interference called against the Mustang defense. And Neil, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe in high school, pass interference is a 15-yard penalty and not an automatic first down.
Yeah, that is correct, Mark, except it is an automatic first down.
Well, it is in this case because they only had 15 yards to gain anyway.
Yeah, I meant the 15 yards is correct, but yes, it's always an automatic first down. I believe it is at every level. So East River gets bailed out there by some over-anxiousness, and they line up on 1st and 10, handoff.
Handoff to Dexter Coleman. A loss of 1 on the play. 2nd and 11 coming up from the 37-yard line.
So again, very little gain, very little room there up at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, so far we have yet to see East River generate any positive yardage other than by penalty.
Yeah, they have more yards in penalty than I believe it's 7 plays they've run from scrimmage. 9:03.
Total rushing yards is -9 for East River right now, and 50 yards for Wekiva, most of which came from that 41-yarder.
And that's another incomplete pass there. Garcia.
Pass is in and out of the hands of Alex Garcia, falling incomplete. That'll bring up 3rd and 11 for the Falcons from the 37-yard line.
So East River will be facing another 3rd down, a very long one, actually 3rd and 10. Opening game of the 2020 season. Thank you for joining us. I'm Neil Fisher along with Mark Barchi. As East River is huddled up, they break the huddle now. It's a an 8-0 lead with 8:53 left for Wekiva. East River facing its third down, need 10 yards as Nick Miner takes out shotgun, and we got movement.
Flag on the play. Prior to the snap, offsides called against the Mustang defense. That's a 5-yard donation to the Falcon cause, and a replay of 3rd down, now 3rd and 6.
So if you're Wekiva, that's twice that you've got an over-anxious on 3rd now. Miner takes a snap. He's going to run it himself, and he's going to come up about 2 yards short. A valiant effort there, but couldn't quite get away from that defensive line. Good job of closing that middle as soon as Miner took off.
Nick Miner on the carry with the QB keep. Kendall Wilson makes the stop for the Mustang defense. Ball was spotted at the 46-yard line.
And
that's a gain of 4 on the play.
And so on 4th and 2, East River's going to go for it. They go with the bunch formation. Miner under center. I believe it's the first time. And I think they're just trying to pull Wekiva off sides as we get a timeout here.
The Falcons will take their first timeout of the first half.
So we'll be back to action here. Wekiva taking an early 8-0 lead, 8:12 left in the first quarter at Baptiste Orthodontic Stadium. Welcome back to Baptiste Orthodontic Stadium. I'm Neil Fisher along with Mark Varsity. Opening game of the 2020 season in East River. In punt formation, no return. And so Wekiva, who already has a 8-0 lead, will take over possession of the ball in fairly decent field position.
Yeah, initially it looked like the Falcons were going to go for it on 4th and 2, and then after the timeout they thought better of it.
Yeah, well, I think that was a situation where they might have even been trying to pull Wekiva offside. It was 4th and 2. Wekiva actually on 3rd down has jumped the gun a couple of times, but in that particular case they were very disciplined and it did not look like they were going to jump off, so the coaching staff called a timeout immediately.
Yeah, and certainly you don't want to be down by, you don't want to give Wekiva great field position and potentially be down by 2 scores still only halfway through the first quarter.
So Wekiva takes over possession here at its own 24-yard line. Maradovic, the new quarterback, drops.
Nice placement.
Wasim with the catch. And there's the whistles finally. East River, Wasim was not going down there.
Pass is complete from Maradovic to Assad Wasim. The tackle is made by Zach Conrad. That puts the ball at the 48-yard line of, make it 47-yard line of Falcon territory for a gain of 29 yards on the catch. And a Mustang first down.
And Wekiva goes back to work here. One back set. With Chad Davis lined up behind Maradovic. Maradovic, a transfer from Oak Ridge, takes the snap, drops back. And,
that's going to draw a flag. Pass intended for Takavian Purdy. Falls incomplete. KJ Thomas on the coverage, and there's a flag on the play.
And there you see the advantage of getting that 29 yards on first down and moving into East River territory. You have a whole host of options on 1st and 10 after that 29-yard catch. So if you just joined us, Wekiva actually, when East River had possession of the ball, committed a pass interference, and Mark asked me if it was 15 yards. And
pass interference is indeed called on the Falcon defense. A 15-yard penalty from the previous spot, and it's a good for a Mustang first down.
And the handoff to Dave.
It's going to be Amari Thomas on the carry.
That's Amari Thomas's first carry, and he bolts ahead behind the right side of that offensive line.
KJ Thomas on the tackle. Ball is spotted at the 21-yard line of Falcon territory. That's a gain of 11 yards, and it's just enough for a Mustang first down.
Their 3rd first down of this drive. And handoff, and again, good yardage behind that right side. Thomas taking the honors this time.
Mari Thomas on the carry. Kamari Williams had the tackle, but not before picking up a Mustang first down.
Where are they? Okay.
Ball is spotted at the 11-yard line.
So, 6:28 left in the first quarter. Wekiva holding an 8-0 lead against the visiting East River Falcons and threatening to up that lead as they are now at the 11-yard line. A 6-play drive. One back set. Maradovic going again to the air on the left side.
Harleante Reed, the intended receiver, got 1 foot down but could not get the other end. Pass is incomplete. 2nd and 10.
And we've seen that play, too, a number of times. I'd probably say at least 4 times here in the first quarter. There's now 6:08 left in the first quarter as we're going to get the water break.
That takes us to the midpoint of the first quarter. So we'll pause for our official timeout. 6 minutes, 8 seconds remaining in the first period. The Mustangs lead 8-0. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you here in the arena or in the stadium with us, we want to offer a friendly reminder to please practice social distancing during your stay with us here at Wekiva High School. Please maintain a minimum of 6 feet from other members of our stadium crowd who are not part of your household, we also do ask that you please keep those face masks secured to your face and covering both your nose and mouth at all times. Thank you for your cooperation. For those of you who are here in the stadium but may have friends and family who are not able to join us in person tonight, we want to remind you that today's game is being broadcast live on both YouTube and the NFHS network. You can search for the Wekiva Sports Channel on YouTube or search for either Wekiva or East River on the NFHS network for live coverage of this game and all of our home games throughout the 2020 football season.
And on that note, welcome back to Baptiste Orthodontic Stadium, home of the Wekiva Mustangs. Wekiva holding an 8-0 lead and threatening to up it as they are taking the snap from the 11. Handoff. Nothing fancy there. Straight up the middle behind the tackles. Keep the line moving, and the Amari Thomas doing the damage there.
Amari Thomas on the carry for the Mustangs. That puts the ball at what looks to be about the 4-yard line. A gain of 7 on the play.
And now as they get closer to the goal line here.
It's 3rd and 3.
Going to go play, roll out, and yes! Touchdown number 1, Assad Wasim.
The pass is complete to Assad Wasim for an 11-yard Mustang touchdown.
And that will up the lead to 14-0. 4:53 left in the first quarter. Wekiva, 2 possessions, 2 touchdowns, and over 100 yards of production. And Wekiva's going to go for the 2-point conversion again. Simple handoff to Thomas. Let him get some points here. And
Amari Thomas into the end zone. The 2-point conversion is again good.
We also have a flag. Some extracurricular activity.
Flag on the play.
And while we're waiting for the call here, I'd just like to also give a thanks, a shout out to the TV production crew under the direction of Keith Dickerson. They're handling all the video aspects of this broadcast.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct called against the Mustang offense. That'll be a 15-yard penalty assessed to the result of the kickoff.
Do you have the total yardage?
I do indeed. So right now we have total yardage -5 for East River and 117 for Wekiva, of which 41 was passing and 76 was rushing.
Yeah, and that really speaks to how well Wekiva's rushing the ball, because I do believe they have passed the ball a couple more times than they've rushed it.
Yeah, play selection, Wekiva is 2 of 5 in passing, and they have had 6 rush attempts. So 5 pass plays, 6 rushing plays.
Okay, and now you're seeing the penalty after that 2-point conversion being assessed. So Wekiva will kick off here from the 25.
And Wekiva, I should point out, has not gotten more than about 12 feet of clearance on any kickoff yet so far.
There's the whistle. Isaiah Davis has, not Isaiah Davis.
Mikel on the kickoff. Ball is spotted at the 36-yard line, and that is where the Falcons will start. So, Neil, that may give you some evidence as to why Wekiva has not attempted to kick an extra point yet.
Yeah, you know, it's a little bit embarrassing up here being the people who cover this, but I never thought of asking Coach Bedison if he had a kicker, and it looks like they do not have a kicker. And by the way, East River will start on Wekiva's side of the field for the first time tonight. After that sequence of mishaps for Wekiva. Snap taken by Minor. He's going to go to the air and intercepted. No. But a great defensive play there.
Pass is broken up by Willie Cutliff, nearly intercepted. It falls incomplete and brings up 2nd and 10.
So 2nd and 10 by East River. 4:45 left in the first quarter.
Ladies and
Wekiva.
gentlemen, we'd like to remind you that you must continue to wear face masks during your entire time here at Baptist Orthodontic Stadium. We also remind you that there is no eating or drinking in the stands. While we encourage you to purchase those bottled drinks, we do ask that you consume them while stationary and then immediately replace your mask. Thank you. Sack there by number 20, Cedric Blair.
And Blair's sack pretty much closes whatever momentum Wekiva had, East River had. And that will bring up 3rd and long as we will go under 4 minutes when this next snap takes place.
Yeah, so right now, Neil, the Mustangs are getting away with not having a lot to offer in terms of field position with the kickoff game, just based upon the fact that the defense is so strong and it doesn't really matter where the Falcons take over possession. They have yet to, let's see, do they have a first down in the books yet?
Yeah,
they have
had that
it was
one
by
on penalty. And here's the snap, and East River's just going to run it. Minor with the quarterback draw gets away. And wow, he made something out of nothing there.
Nick Minor on the QB keep. And he is stopped by the Mustangs' Luther Johnson near the first down marker, but just short of it. The ball is spotted at the 28-yard line. That's a gain of 15 yards on the play, and it still leaves 4th and 3. So an interesting decision to be made here, Neil.
Yeah, I think if you're East River, you go for it. You really have nothing to lose.
Yeah, at this point, Wekiva would have still their worst field position of the night, even if they did take over here.
We're going to get a pitch out here, and that's going to go nowhere. Great defense there on the right side, immediately shutting off that lane for number 8.
That was Graylin Holland catches the lateral. Willie Cutliff was there to cut him off. And that will turn the ball over on downs to the Mustangs. They take over at their own 31-yard line, 1st and 10.
So again, Wekiva holding a 16-0 lead here as there's 3:35 left in the first quarter. This is the opening game of the 2020 season, yes, about a month later than usual, but we have football here at Baptist Orthodontic Stadium. Wekiva so far has gotten off to as good a start as any team could want. 2 possessions, 2 touchdowns. They moved the ball at least 60 yards both times. And Maradovic is going to hand off here. That's Davis, and he's got something going here down the left sideline. 1 man to beat. Actually, he stepped out of bounds, but that's still going to be a long gain there of about 40 yards.
Chad Davis on the carry for the Mustangs. All the way into Falcon territory. He steps out of bounds at the 38-yard line. That'll pick up a gain of 31 yards on the play.
Wekiva again going with the 1-back set. Maradovic takes the snap over the middle, incomplete. Wasim was able to get his hands on the ball, but not able to haul it in as he was moving in the opposite direction.
Pass intended for Wasim falls incomplete, brings up 2nd and 10 from the Falcon 38-yard line.
Of course, Wekiva comes into the 2020 season off a 7-4 record. 7-3 regular season, lost during the first round of the state playoffs. Handoff to Davis in one of the few mishaps here by Wekiva as they got tangled on the offensive line, and Davis is going to only gain a couple.
Chad Davis on the carry for a gain of 2 yards. Third and 8 coming up for Wekiva from the 36-yard line.
And
so, Neil, this may be the first time Wekiva has faced a 3rd and long tonight.
Yes, I was just going to mention that, Mark. It's actually it's their first 3rd down. Davis is going to stay in, line up behind Maradovic. Maradovic, the transfer from Oak Ridge. One receiver low, one receiver high. Here's the snap. Maradovic with the pass, and it's caught. And a touchdown!
Pass is complete to Zacavian Purdy for a 36-yard Mustang touchdown.
Yeah. I didn't see it. So Wekiva here in the first quarter, 3 possessions, 3 touchdowns, a 22-0 lead with a point after touchdown pending, 2:24 left. And so far, Wekiva has made this look easy. Snap back to Maradovic. Hand off to Davis, and he's trying to power his way in.
Hand off to Chad Davis, and he punches his way into the end zone for the 2-point conversion.
So we'll get ready to put the ball back in play. Wekiva holding a 24-0 lead with 2:24 left. Got a full deck here, a full house on the scoreboard with 2s and 4s. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Neil Fisher along with Mark Barchi. The opening game of the 2020 season for the Wekiva Mustangs in East River Falcons. Football back in action across Orange County. And we're going to see another low kick here. Get used to that because it does not appear that Wekiva has a kicker.
John Starling makes the stop on the kickoff, no return. Ball is spotted at the 35-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Falcons.
How many yards does the Falcons have?
So with 2 minutes 23 seconds remaining in the first quarter, total yardage, Wekiva 186, Falcons -1.
So very tough sledding, to use an old cliche, for the East River Falcons as they go back to offense here, trying to get 2 consecutive first downs for the first time. Handoff and nowhere to go.
Graylin Holland on the carry. Stop made by Kamori Williams. No gain on the play. 2nd and 10 coming up for the Falcons from their own 35.
Nick Miner, the quarterback for East River, takes the snap and a completion. And off to the left side there, a host of tackles. Takes down Howland.
Graylin Holland has the completion. Several Mustangs involved on the stop. We'll credit that one to Marion Foster. A gain of 6 on the play, 3rd and 4 coming up. So just over a minute to go here in the first quarter, and so far it has been all Mustangs. That most recent play by the Falcons has just put them for the first time tonight into positive yardage.
Here's the snap to Minor with the one-back set.
And we got some early movement here. Flag on the play. Prior to the snap, false start called against the Falcon offense. That's a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot and a replay of third down.
48.5 seconds left here in the first quarter. East River will now need 8 yards to get that first down. East River has yet to gain a first down of their own effort. They've gotten one first down. That was a penalty. Out of the huddle. Quarterback Nick Minor running out of a one-back set. 3 receivers low. Low snap. Gets away from Minor. And that's going to count as a sack. But more importantly, that's going to be big yardage lost by East River.
Who had the snack? Did you see?
So the mishaps continue for East River here as the first half or the first quarter comes to an end. We got 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. And that will do it for the first quarter of the 2020 season. I'm Neil Fisher along with Mark Barchi from Baptiste Orthodontic Stadium. Wekiva, 3 possessions, 3 touchdowns, 3 two-point conversions, a 24-0 lead heading into the second quarter. Welcome back to Baptiste Orthodontic Stadium. Neil Fisher along with Mark Barchi. East River punting. And there's not going to be a return.
Yeah, Wekiva doesn't want anything to do with that.
Now, this is a better part of discretion here. Get away from that punt. It's not going to go very deep. Don't open the door for East River.
Still a net of 38 yards on the punt, though, so East River can't be too upset with that. The ball is downed at the 40-yard line. The Mustangs will take over from there with 1st and 10.
The snap, handoff. Good
Look at the
yardage again
speed
on
there.
the left. And that should be another first down for Wekiva.
Harleante Reed on the carry. The ball spotted just inside Falcon territory at the 49-yard line for a gain of 11. Mustangs pick up a first down. Harleante Reed is, of course, on the roster as a wide receiver, but there you see his ground game chops being put to work.
Yeah, athlete of all kind, as Maratovic's going to go back to the air. This is going to
fakes the handoff, and it is just over the head of Isaiah Davis. The pass intended for Isaiah Davis falls incomplete. Brings up 2nd and 10 for the Mustangs from the Falcon 49.
So, 2nd and 10 now, being faced by Wekiva. Maratovic is a transfer from Oak Ridge and came at just the right moment as Wekiva lost its quarterback. And he's going to go deep here to the air. Why not?
Oh, that was dangerous. It almost paid off. Pass intended for Harleante Reed, broken up by Jalen Brown.
And when you have a 24-0 lead and you're 3 for 3 in terms of scoring with each possession, that's one of the advantages. Even if that ball had been intercepted, East River would have taken over inside its own 10-yard line. So you have a lot of nothing to lose in that situation. In the meantime, though, that leaves the 3rd and 10 faced by Wekiva and Junior Maradovic.
Pass in the air looks good, and it is caught by Assad Wasim. Does a little dancing with, that's Zach Conrad. Assad Wasim makes the completion, and it's good for a Mustang first down.
Thank you for joining us tonight. This is Wekiva versus East River, the opening game of the 2020 season for both teams. So far, Wekiva has certainly come in living up to the expectations of being the favorite. A 24-0 lead, 10:47 left in the second quarter. They've pretty much had their way tonight, scoring on all 3 possessions, and they're continuing to move. Only a few yards here this time by Chad Davis taking the handoff.
Chad Davis on the carry for the Mustangs. Nick Mercia and Eli Ensinger getting in on the tackle. No gain on the play. 2nd and 10 coming up for Wekiva.
So Junior Maradovic making his debut in a Wekiva uniform, transferring from Oak Ridge. And he has led an offense which has compiled 210 yards, and we still have 10 minutes left here in the first half. Wekiva lining up in the one-back set with Seam in motion. Handoff to Thomas, and he's going to go around the right side and pick up about 8 yards there.
Amari Thomas on the carry, taken out of bounds by Michael Misner of the Falcon defense. The ball is spotted in Falcon territory at the 27-yard line. That's a gain of 9 yards. 3rd and 1 coming up.
And Wekiva continues to move the ball methodically, systematically down the field. Now facing a 3rd and 1.
Well, it's tough to say. Is it 3rd and 1 or is it 1st and 10? The official signals. Looks like the official is signaling first down, and the chain gang may not have. Okay, we're going to pause for a timeout.
Yeah, it looks like the officials need to get some repetitions in too here. You know, I assume they probably didn't get much practice just like the football teams due to the pandemic.
Yeah, that is something that's worth pointing out, is that both of these teams are operating on a condensed schedule. I mean, we went 2 weeks of practice and then right at it. I mean, some of them had been conditioning prior to that, but the spring season didn't happen this year. A lot of the things that our football players count on to be ready didn't happen. Of course, everybody's in the same boat, though, so everyone is equally disadvantaged.
And as we get the measurement for the first down here,
real close.
Oh, this is looks like it's maybe an inch short.
And the measurement is in, and it is 3rd and inches.
So I was going to say, that with the 2 weeks of practice, really all you can do in that situation is pretty much just try to get yourself back into shape in terms of getting used to facing, getting hit and hitting other players. So Wekiva, 3rd and short here. They've had a very strong power rushing game, but we're going to see a pass. Maradovic passing it to the left flat, and that is TK Purdy. Yes, TK Purdy catching the ball, getting the first down, and doing a nice job running down that sideline, picking up quite a bit of yardage after the catch.
Pass is complete to Kavian Purdy. Ball is spotted at the 13-yard line. That's a gain of 15 yards on the play.
And we talked about in the pregame show, Mark, that Wekiva had 17 starters returning. Wekiva is going to run the one-back set. And 17 starters is a great advantage in a normal season, but it's even more so important when you only get 2 weeks of fall practice and no spring practice. In the meantime, we got a run here from Chad Davis off the right tackle.
Chad Davis on the carry for the Mustangs. He picks up a gain of 1 yard. Tackle is made by number 50, Curtis Alexander. That brings up 2nd and 9 from the Falcon 12-yard line.
Neil Fisher, Mark Barchi, live from Baptiste Orthodontic Stadium, home of the Wekiva Mustangs, who are enjoying a 24-0 lead with 8:20 left before halftime. 2nd and 9 being faced by Wekiva. Muradovic running out of the shotgun like he has for most of the game. Passes it over to Isaiah Davis, the experienced wide receiver who just muffed that one. Boy, he had some good yardage there, at least 5 or 6 yards, which would have set up a 3rd and short.
Isaiah Davis, the pass intended for him incomplete, brings up 3rd and 9 from the 12.
So Wekiva has not had to face many 3rd downs. I don't believe they faced more than 5, but they have been successful on every 3rd down. And they will do this 3rd down attempt here again out of the one-back set. Wasim on the low side, Davis on the high. Quick snap to Muradovic over the middle to Davis.
Was there.
It was a bit too high, and Davis couldn't quite climb up the ladder.
Pass intended for Isaiah Davis, incomplete. That will bring up 4th and 9 for the Mustangs. Well, Neil, if Wekiva has not attempted to kick an extra point yet, I have no reason to believe that they will go for a field goal here, even though that is what is mathematically the appropriate thing to do in this situation.
Yeah, that, for you Star Trek fans out there, that's Vulcan logic. This time, the snap back to Muradovic.
He's got it!
No problem. Touchdown, Wasim in the right corner.
Junior Muradovic finds Assad Wasim in the corner of the end zone for a Mustang touchdown.
Four possessions, 4 touchdowns for Wekiva. A 30-0 lead with 7:55 left in the first half. And that is the 2nd touchdown reception for Wasim, the 3rd for Muradovic, the first-year starter for Wekiva, as they line up for the 2-point conversion. Muradovic's going to roll out, throw the ball on the run, nice and easy to Isaiah Davis. Catches it at the 1-yard line, take 1 step in, and the lead is now 32-0 with 7:52 left in the first half.
Pass is complete to Isaiah Davis. For the 2-point conversion, the Mustangs extend their lead to 32-0 with 7 minutes, 52 seconds remaining in the first half.
How long was the touchdown pass?
12.
Welcome back to Baptiste Orthodontic Stadium. Wekiva has opened up a 32-0 lead as they get ready to kick the ball off here again.
Oh, another worm burner, and it nearly goes all wrong. The pass, or the kickoff, is initially fumbled, but then taken in by Elijah Ortiz. And it is downed at the 30-yard line. Falcons will take over from there. So another worm burner for the Mustangs.
And that last possession Wekiva scored on was not the longest in terms of the distance, but it was the longest in terms of the amount of time. They basically had the ball for about half a quarter. And now East River really has not shown anything. They certainly look like the team that we talked about in the pregame show, a team that's very young and inexperienced after losing a number of starters last season due to graduation. A handoff. And again, the Wekiva defensive line coming up to the line there.
Graylin Holland on the carry. Stop made by Nick Felix of the Mustang defense. A gain of 1 on the play. That brings up 2nd and 9 from the 31-yard line. So a quick check-in on your stats here as we get ready to round the midpoint of the second quarter. Right now, Wekiva, 12 first downs. East River still has just the 1 first down by penalty. They have not earned any first downs yet. Passing game, Wekiva is 6 of 14 for 116 yards. Falcons 1 of 5 for 6 yards. Rushing, Wekiva 130 yards on 12 carries, and the Falcons negative 14 yards on 11 carries.
Yeah, make that one more incomplete pass.
Pass intended for David Rainey falls incomplete, and that'll bring up 3rd and 9 for the Falcons.
So 3rd and long again for East River. They faced a number of these. Only 1 first down gained by East River. And Minor takes the snap, rolls out to the right. Incomplete, out of bounds. In the
Alex Garcia, the intended receiver. The pass incomplete, and it brings up 4th and 9. Well, Neil, in this case, no matter how confident you are in your kicking game, you want to think real hard about the prospects of giving Wekiva the ball that close to the end zone.
Well, I would say the problem isn't necessarily the idea of kicking in general. It's the fact that they haven't kicked the ball very well. They've needed some bounce, luck of the bounce there, so to say.
Yeah, kicking game has not been real strong on either side, as the Mustangs are really feeling the loss of Oscar from last year. The
Oscar Salazar.
Yes, the double threat from soccer and football, and his shoe is deeply missed this season.
And here's the kick. And this time it's going to be fielded, well, attempted to be fielded. Reed probably would have been better off to just let that ball go, but nonetheless, he does come up with it, and Wekiva will take over possession again.
Harleante Reed manages to bring the ball under control. Spotted at the 37-yard line of Mustang territory. Wekiva takes over from there with 1st and 10.
And this has been a very easy, systematic lead built by Wekiva. They've had 4 possessions, scored 4 touchdowns, and converted the two-point conversion every time. And Maradovic, hands off. Got a big hole here for Davis.
Davis on the carry. The stop is made. Thomas on the carry. The stop is made for East River by Ortiz.
Excuse me, that was Amari Thomas with the carry.
A gain of 6 yards on the carry. That puts the ball at the 43-yard line and brings up 2nd and 4.
Wekiva running mostly out of the one-back set, continues, handoff to Thomas again. He's going to go around the right and can't get away from number 17.
Thomas on the carry. Chris Matos makes the tackle.
Latos with the tackle there. He grabbed Davis's jersey.
A loss of 3 on the play, and it brings up 3rd and 7 from the 40-yard line.
And that might just be the first play that Wekiva has lost yardage on all during the game. And I believe this is also the longest third down distance that Wekiva's faced on a third down. So Maradovic will take the snap here, looks to his left, gets rid of the ball quickly, and he's going to throw that ball out of bounds. Purdy, the intended receiver, even if he had caught that, would have been a good 2 feet out of bounds.
Pass intended for Purdy falls incomplete. That'll bring up 4th and 7 for the Mustangs. Well, now, Neil, the Mustangs have some thinking to do. Obviously, punting is not quite the same as place kicking. We haven't seen the Mustangs punt yet today, but they're going to get a second to think about it.
Yeah, well, unless Maradovic is also punting, which actually I think he is, because I do see a number of new players coming out. So, yeah, this is going to be a punt here. Maradovic is standing about 12 yards behind the line of scrimmage. For those of you who have joined us late, Wekiva does not have a kicker, at least not as of yet. And, a low snap actually bounced. Maradovic does a nice job of playing shortstop and gets the ball off, fielded by the East River number 23. And he does a nice job.
Makes the catch. No advance. That'll put the ball at the 37-yard line, and it also takes us a little bit past, actually, the midpoint of the second quarter. And so we'll pause for an official timeout with 5 minutes, 4 seconds left in the first half. The Mustangs lead the Falcons 32-0. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Baptiste Orthodontic Stadium. I'm Neil Fisher along with Mark Barchi. Wekiva holding a 32-0 lead in the world, and the mishaps continue for East River. A high snap, Nick Miner, not about 10 feet tall there. All he could do was just fall on that.
Fumble on the snap. Miner manages to recover to keep control for the Falcons. But it's a loss of 8 yards on the play, and it brings up 2nd and 18.
And East River will now be facing 2nd and long from its own 29-yard line. Wekiva holding a 32-0 lead here at Baptiste Orthodontic Stadium in the home opener, 4:29 before halftime. East River with only 1 first down so far as Miner takes the snap, drops back. And under heavy pressure, he goes down yet again.
Nick Miner is sacked by Johnny Chaney.
Okay, Johnny.
That's 2 for him tonight, if I'm not mistaken,
Yes,
Neil.
2 for him.
So 10 last season, and he's already outpacing his previous record, and we've got a player down.
Yeah, even with only 8 games being played this season, he would have 6 more as of now if he continues on his pace. So let's take a look at the field here, see who is down. It is It's number 20, Cedric Blair. And Blair, speaking of sacks, has also had 1 tonight. So once again, thank you for joining us. Mark
Cedric Blair shaking up on the play, making his way off with the assistance of our athletic training team.
And that's always a good sign when the player walks off without any help. So once again, Mark and I are very happy and proud to be able to bring you our internet broadcast for each of the 4 home games Wekiva will play this season, of course, due to the pandemic. There will be 8 games in total this season instead of 10. As East River now comes back, lines up. Second and long, Miner taking the snap out of the shotgun, rolling right. And another incomplete pass.
Pass intended for Dexter Coleman, nearly picked off by the Mustangs.
East River, if you did join us late, was a team that went 5-5 last year and lost about 2/3 of its starting lineup. In the meantime, Wekiva returned 2/3 of it, actually about 3/4, 17 players, 9 on defense and 8 on offense. And we're certainly seeing that result, along with only having 2 weeks of fall practice due to the pandemic. 3:51 left at Baptiste Orthodontic Stadium before halftime, 32-0 in favor of Wekiva, as more heavy pressure from the Wekiva special teams, and another bad punt for East River is going to give Wekiva excellent field position.
Kyle Tratner on the punt. Under pressure, it is high and goes out of bounds. Ball is spotted at the 35-yard line of Falcon territory, so the Mustangs will take over with excellent field position from there.
And also like to mention, Mark, that Wekiva returns 17 starters off a team that went 7-3 last year, making the state playoffs and losing in the first round to Fleming Island. So, Wekiva back on offense. Maradovic, the transfer from Oak Ridge, a very successful opening half in a Wekiva uniform, drops the pass off.
Pass is complete to Assad Wasim.
And Wasim doing some juking and jiving there, getting a couple extra yards.
Ball is spotted at the 28-yard line. That's a gain of 7 on the completion. It brings up 2nd and 3. So, Neil, if the Mustangs were to score here, that would put us into the running clock rule for the entire second half.
Yeah, that's true. It's 35-point lead as Maradovic is going to go for it.
Oh, through the hands.
Reed.
Pass intended for Harleante Reed falling incomplete.
So, again, I think that was Reed was not expecting that pass to get there quite so quickly. Maradovic showing he's got some power in that arm of his.
Yeah, no, that was, couldn't have been thrown any better, but you're right. I think Reed was just surprised.
Well, it wasn't perfectly thrown, but it certainly was within Reed's wheelhouse there. Nonetheless, when you have a 32-0 lead, you have room to make a couple of those mistakes. 3:04 left in the first half as Maradovic looks over to the bench and gets instructions from Coach Bedisum. He is going to be running the offense out of the one-back set, lined up to the left, over the middle pass.
Oh, there's going to be a flag for that.
Yeah, that was Reed was the intended receiver, and he was pretty much.
Pass intended for Harleante Reed falls incomplete, but there is a flag on the play.
Yeah, Reed was fighting off contact through that whole play. And 3 minutes exactly remaining here in the first half.
All right, let's see. We got the officials conferring here, and here comes the signal. Dead ball. Personal foul called against the Falcon defense. It's dead ball. Personal foul called against the Mustang offense. Holding called against the defense of the Falcons. So all kinds of illegal activity happening on that play.
Yes, a carnival of yellow laundry. And I guess this comes down to Wekiva 2 versus 1 in Wekiva's favor. as the refs grab the football and they're going to move it up here 10 yards. Actually 5 yards, excuse me. But what's important is that it is a first down for Wekiva.
That's at the 18-yard line. Ball is spotted at the 18-yard line. The 2 personal fouls offset. The holding penalty was good for 10 yards in the Mustangs' favor.
Maradovic over.
Pass is complete to Harleonte Reed into the end zone for a Mustang touchdown.
So wait a minute.
Hold on.
Wait a minute. We got flags on the field here. Can hear the
Flag
whistles
on the
all the way
play.
up. Can hear the whistles all the way up.
Ineligible receiver called against the Mustangs.
So Wekiva, at least for the meantime, will have to settle for remaining ahead 32-0. And I know Coach Bedison is going to certainly talk about that, if not during the halftime, at least during the upcoming week of practice. Obviously, it does not affect tonight's game, but that's a case where you don't want a penalty to carry over into the next game. You don't want that sloppy play.
So the penalty is a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. The touchdown is negated. First and 15 for Wekiva from the 23.
And we're going to get more whistles.
And another flag on the play. Prior to the snap, false start called against the Mustang offense. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. And a replay, a first down. All right, so what was a touchdown has now turned into 1st and 20. Thanks to a cavalcade of errors.
Yeah, the referees certainly, if they didn't need to wash their penalty flags, they do now. And we will see Maradovic once again go back on out shotgun, one back set. Wekiva keeping it simple with Davis running up the middle. Blew a big hole there in Davis, finding big yardage for over 20 yards, getting most of that yardage back that was taken away on the multiple penalties.
Chad Davis on the carry for the Mustangs. Takes the ball down to the 12-yard line. That's a gain of 16 yards on the play. Make it the 11 for 17 yards, and it brings up 2nd and 3.
So most of the yardage, which was taken away from Wekiva on the multiple penalties, Davis gets back. And 2nd and short here is Maradovic again, hands off to Davis, up the middle.
Chad Davis finds a hole, and he's into the end zone for a Mustang touchdown. That one was clean, no flags on the play. 6 points in the books for Wekiva.
And so Wekiva holds a 38-0 lead, 1:45 left in the first half. And yes, your potential comment about a running clock has now become fruition.
Yeah, barring anything unexpected by the Falcons in the next minute 45, it looks like that's the direction we're going. Pass intended for Harleonte Reed is broken up in the end zone.
Another well-placed ball there by Maradovic. Just a really good play there in the secondary by the East River defense. The East River secondary knocking the ball away at the last minute. Nonetheless, Wekiva holding a 38-0 lead. 1:46 before halftime. And unfortunately, I just want to bring this up too here. If you have not heard, due to the pandemic, one of the restrictions is bands are not present, so we will not have a halftime show involving the band.
Yes, but that being said, we do want to thank the Mustang Marching Band, who was kind enough to record the Star-Spangled Banner, a couple of drumline tunes for us, and the Wekiva fight song. So we've been able to provide a little bit of atmosphere for our fans here in spite of the lack of having the marching band here in person. we hope we're able to get them back soon.
And a familiar sight, I guess you really couldn't call it an onside kick because it's not intended for Wekiva to recover, but it's rolling along the ground like you would like an onside kick.
Braylon Holland will not advance the ball, but it will stop at the Falcon 36-yard line. They start from there with their next possession.
So if the Wekiva defense can hold East River for one more series, Wekiva will go into the halftime with as strong a start, as strong as a first half as a team can have. A 38-0 lead, 1:43 left here before halftime as East River lines up, handoff.
Handoff to Dexter Coleman.
And nowhere to go. Bring up second down. Actually looked like they lost a yard. And the clock continues to run now, 1:20. And it looks like East River is really in no hurry or feels no urgency to put the ball back in play. They are just standing in the huddle now for about 20 seconds. As the clock dips under 1 minute, a 38-0 lead for Wekiva. Nick Miner out of shotgun. Handoff. Again, and nowhere to go again. No gain. Straight into the teeth of that Wekiva defensive line. And I believe that will do it for the first half.
Yeah, there's no real urgency for the Falcons to take a snap here. They do have time to take one.
Yeah, 20 seconds, but...
Yeah, they're within the play clock, though, to just let it run out if that's what they choose to do.
And
no, it looks like they are going to take one more snap.
Well, there's 7 seconds as they line up. And 3, 2, yes, they do get the play off. Handoff, actually a quarterback draw. Miner with some good yardage. But as the saying goes, too little, too late. And so, about as perfect a first half of the season any team could desire, Wekiva scoring on 5 of its 6 possessions and converting 5 of its 6 2-point conversion attempts. The score is 38-0 from Baptiste Orthodontic Stadium, the 2020 season opener against East River.
We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back with some halftime analysis. back to the press box here at Baptiste Orthodontic Stadium. You see Neil Fisher over there to my left, your right. We're trying to maintain our social distancing as best we can. And Neil, this has been just what the doctor ordered for the Mustangs. We talked about how none of our teams have had the opportunity normally have leading up to the season. The practice season was abbreviated. The kickoff classics didn't happen. The spring season didn't happen. So a lot of the preparatory time that these teams are used to having to build up and get ready for high school level competition didn't happen, but everyone is at the same disadvantage. And so it kind of levels the playing field in a metaphorical sense, if not a literal one. This game, though, has been all Mustangs. Certainly there have been some elements of Wekiva's game that leave something to be desired, especially the kicking game. I don't think that comes as a surprise to anyone. Ever since we lost Oscar last season, we have not found a good replacement for place kicking. And that has shown itself to be true tonight, but the Mustangs have demonstrated so far that it doesn't really matter where they get the ball. It doesn't really matter what the field position is. When you hold the opponent to negative 15 total yards, it really doesn't matter what kind of field position you give them.
Yeah, first of all, going back to what you said about the limited practice, Wekiva returned 17 starters from their team last year that went 7-3 and made the state playoffs. Now, normally, that's a big advantage. In a situation where, as you also pointed out, only 2 weeks of fall practice, no spring practice game, it becomes even more so because once you get by about 2 week practice, that's when you start getting more specific, the more complex.
Wekiva 70 for 55 yards, although it ended up not costing them that touchdown after all, thanks to Chad Davis. Well, and here's another place where the teams have been reasonably good. East River 3 times, but has managed to hold on to it each time. Wekiva has taken very good care of the ball, and I have to give credit where credit is due there to Junior Muradovic making
directly, like he hasn't dropped the ball, he hasn't fumbled it, hasn't thrown an interception. But the underlying cause is when he's thrown it, he's put it in an area for most of it, I'd say 95% of the passes, only his receiver can catch. East River has had to start to drop some of those 7 men back into the linebacking unit, and that opens up gaps, and we've seen Chad Davis and Amari Thomas just slash and dash through those lines. For the most part, as you mentioned, over 160 yards rushing. Davis and Thomas are the only 2 running backs, so they are probably averaging, I'd say, at least 7 yards a carry. But not only is the amount important, but the
actually, I can answer that for you. Chad Davis is averaging 14 yards a carry.
Okay.
He is 8 attempts for 112 yards, longest 41 and 2 touchdowns. Amari Thomas, 7 carries.
Sustained drive, and they were being able to hold on to the ball for longer. So also another important point to your point, Mark, that Wekiva has not turned the ball over. I always like to say the team that has possession of the ball, worst case scenario is the other team, the opponent, can't score.
So yeah, Neil, it's, Wekiva is going to have to clean up some of these items. I mean, certainly we've seen a lot of great things at the skill positions. We've seen a lot of great things on defense, which I don't think comes as a great surprise to anyone who's followed Wekiva football for any length of time, and certainly under Coach Bedison. The kicking game definitely needs some work. There are a few rough edges that need to be polished, some passes that should have been caught that weren't, and if Wekiva wants to beat opponents like Edgewater and Dr. Phillips and Apopka, they're going to have to clean up those components of their game. But I think the fundamentals are there.
Yeah, certainly they look like a team that is returning 17 starters, certainly look like a team that went to the playoffs and has 17 starters from last season. And as you mentioned, the kicking game, I would say probably the kicking game is the most glaring deficiency they have right now. And the reason that is because they don't actually have a kicker. So once you get a kicker, you probably, that does change as far as how weak that is. It at least gives you an opportunity to be able to score some points. Another point I like to make out here as the teams line up for the second half kickoff is, for the most part, I only remember about a sequence of 3 plays where I really thought that Wekiva's play was sloppy. And that's something that's coach talk. As we begin the second half here, the ball goes out of bounds on the kickoff.
Yeah, and unlike with punts, that is illegal. So that's going to result in a penalty flag.
And Wekiva, already holding the 38-0 lead, will take over possession of the ball. East River starting with possession. And remember, it is a running clock. A 35-point deficit in the second half initiates that running clock. So I think another question here too is, how long does Coach Bedison keep his starters in?
Kickoff goes out of bounds. That is a penalty and an automatic placement of the ball at the 35-yard line. Wekiva opens up the second half from there.
And we're going to get the answer to the question as we see a handoff here to begin the first game, and we got multiple flags. The question to how long does Wekiva remain with the starters, at least at quarterback, is 1 half. Maradovic is out. Number 18 is in. Who's number 18, the backup?
That's Elijah Rooney in at quarterback.
So Rooney now in under center, his second snap, and he's going to hand it off to Thomas. Thomas on the left side, 10, 15, 20, still on his feet, finally ridden out of bounds on East River's side of the field.
Amari Thomas on the Mustang carry.
So quarterback switch or not, Wekiva continues to hammer that ball on the ground. So I don't expect to see many passes here in the second half with the large lead, and we are going to get a penalty. So cancel out that big game for Thomas, and now we know why he was able to get such a big game. Was that holding?
What was the call? What was the call? Well, we're going to assume that was probably a holding call because that would make sense for where the ball ended up.
In any case, it is 3rd down and 15 as Rooney rolls to his right. Oh, almost intercepted. KJ Thomas had his hands on that, got his mitts on it, and just could not grasp the ball enough to keep it. So, excuse me, that actually was 2nd down. Now we're looking at 3rd down. And just a simple handoff here to Chad Davis.
Chad Davis on the carry, and he is across the first down marker for Mustang, first down.
Thomas.
That's Thomas on the play.
So the clock remains running. It's 8:23. Wekiva holding a 38-0 lead here in the season opener against East River. And we got a fumble on the handoff. Wekiva did recover the handoff to number 28. Who's 28?
Ball is fumbled but recovered by Jamon Coleman.
That's right.
Loss of 1 on the play.
And Coleman plays both offense and defense. He lines up cornerback on defense. And he's a 2-sport star here at Wekiva. He is a track and field athlete as well. So hopefully the track and field season will not be affected the way football has. 2nd and 15, 7.5 minutes left. Rooney drops back, completes the pass.
Pass is complete from Rooney to Jamon Coleman. Loss of 1 on the play.
And I believe that's only the second play that Wekiva's actually lost yardage throughout this whole game. As we now dip under 7 minutes in the third quarter. Lead remains 38-0 in favor of Wekiva. Rooney, snap, hands it off to Thomas, who continues to bang and pound on that right side.
And we hear Coach Bettison yelling, punt, punt, punt. Thomas on the carry, Vasquez on the tackle. Gets the ball just inside Falcon territory at the 47. Gain of 6 on the play, and the Mustangs will line up to punt.
And Maradovic, who, if you joined us late, is the actual starter. Oh, nice punt there, high. Not great depth, but it is high enough that allows his team to get down. And forces a fair catch from number 11.
Tyler Mott with the fair catch. That'll spot the ball near the 20-yard line, and we'll pause for the official timeout. 5 minutes, 53 seconds remaining. Mustangs lead 38-0 in the third quarter. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we appreciate your cooperation. We ask that you please enjoy any beverages that you may have obtained from the concession stand away from the stands, and then please make sure your mask is fully secured, covering both your nose and your mouth. And we ask that you also please remain socially distanced from anyone who is not a member of your immediate household. Thank you.
And welcome back to Baptiste Orthodontic Stadium. East River with the ball. Minor, the quarterback. Incomplete pass. Coleman, the intended receiver, and even if Coleman had come up with that ball, he would have been out of bounds. Heavy pressure from the Wekiva defensive line. They're forcing Minor to have to run to his right. This is the opener of the 2020 football season. Wekiva taking on East River and a 38-0 lead. 5 minutes left in the third quarter. Handoff, nowhere to go. We've seen that throughout the whole game. Coleman with the running attack there. So looking ahead here, since we got some time here, East River in no hurry to take any snaps here. Wekiva actually has 3 consecutive home games to begin the season. We will be back here actually next Friday, not Thursday, as motion. And here is the snap in the throw.
Oh, it's too far.
An open Coleman.
Yeah, Coleman tripped a little bit there and was not able to get the distance he needed. Pass intended for Dexter Coleman falls incomplete, and it brings up 4th and 8 for the Falcons. So the Falcons still hunting for that first earned first down.
In the meantime, they have to punt. Wekiva putting only 3 men up. They're going to let East River punt. Stop. And Kyle Tranter, again, a punt that really didn't go very far. And Wekiva will have ball on East River side of the field as we approach the end of the third quarter, 3 minutes left.
Did that actually get off the ground?
So, yeah, that ball actually didn't even travel 5 yards.
Yeah, and then it took a Wekiva bounce and ended up actually essentially going backwards. I think the ball's at the 16-yard line. That's a negative 6-yard punt.
So a handoff to Thomas, and he's going to go to the left side, get outside, and gain a first down.
Mari Thomas on the carry. Ball is spotted at the 3-yard line. That's a gain of 13 yards. And it's a Mustang first down.
Wekiva comes up to the line. Rooney in for Maradovic. Takes a snap. Hands it off to the right. Touch. Yes, that is a touchdown for Thomas.
Amari Thomas up the middle and into the end zone for a Mustang touchdown.
And that will up the score with just under 2 minutes, 44-0. And Rooney takes the snap, hands it off. Thomas again, he scores the touchdown as well as the 2-point conversion. Both of them, nothing fancy, just followed his right side of his line. And now, as we approach the end of the third quarter, remember, it's a running clock. So there's only 40 seconds left as of right now. They probably will not be able to get the kickoff. The score will be 46-0 heading into the fourth quarter. This is the 2020 opener for the Wekiva Mustangs taking on the East River Falcons at Baptiste Orthodontic Stadium.
And for those of you who would like a score update, we have an update from the Apopka Chief across town. Mid-third quarter, Apopka has tied Ocoee 13-13. So the game on the other side of town, a little closer than the one we're watching here.
And here we go again with another kickoff. So Ocoee actually has done a good job of handling those rolling kickoffs. Of course, Wekiva is doing that intentionally because they do not have a kicker. So the goal is just don't make a mistake.
The kick return is not advanced. It stops at the 35-yard line. Falcons will take over from there with 1st and 10. But again, Neil, when you are tearing it up gangbusters as much as Wekiva defense is right now, who really cares about field position?
Yeah, as we get a handoff here, a pass.
Had plenty of room. Is it caught? Yes, it is. Well, that just quadrupled East River's yardage for the night. Pass is complete from Alex Garcia to Tyler Moat.
And I believe that is the second completion of the game, too, for Minor.
The ball is spotted in Mustang territory at the 35-yard line for a gain of 30 yards. So that actually brings East River back into positive total yardage. That was a 30-yard gain, and they are now at 17 total yards. Pass complete again from Alex Garcia to Tyler Moak. Gosh, maybe this is what they should have been running the whole game.
Yeah, 10:22 left in the game. And as we mentioned, Wekiva will actually play their first 3 games here at Baptiste Orthodontic Stadium.
Yeah, they certainly don't get any easier from here.
Yeah, after tonight, we take on Ocoee and then Edgewater.
Ocoee, of course, is giving a Popco run for their money tonight.
And we have a sack here.
Are they going to say he got the pass off? I don't think he did. No, they are going to give him credit for getting the pass off.
Okay.
Pass falls incomplete. 3rd and 4 coming up.
And Alex Garcia is now under center, by the way.
So still give a lot of credit to Willie Cutliff there. That won't go in the books for him as a sack, but he definitely hurried the quarterback and was responsible for the lack of success of that play.
East River has also gone to under center as a handoff to end result is the same. Nowhere to go behind that right side of the line.
Run by Zach Matsko, and he's tackled by Jock McMiller. So we're hearing some names on both sides that we haven't heard yet. Both teams have obviously put in their bench players in order to get some practice in, since the outcome of this game is more or less resolved.
And a completion there from Garcia. And this is
Pass is complete from Alex Garcia to Tyler Moak. Willie Cutliff on the stop.
This is the deepest that East River has been all night.
So in fairness, Wekiva's not running their first string defense either, but that being said, so far the Garcia-Moak combo has been more effective than anything else that the Falcons have put on the field so far tonight.
Yes, they probably have, quadrupled their yards
Oh,
gained.
easily. Yeah, and it's going to look funny in the stats because they're going to have infinitely better stats than anyone else.
And touchdown for East River.
The pass is complete into the end zone. It is caught by number 87. That is Logan Daigle, and there is a flag in the backfield. And it is against the Mustangs, which will, of course, be declined.
And so, the shutout is no more. Wekiva still has a very large lead. The clock will continue to run. Score is 46-6 with 7:20 left here in the 4th quarter. I'm Neil Fisher, Mark Barchi. We are at Baptiste Orthodontic Stadium, home of the Wekiva Mustangs. And we are getting ready for a 2-point conversion here from East River. Again, the score is 46-6. This is the home opener of the 2020 football season. Of course, the season not only was delayed, but it will be shortened to 8 games instead of 10. And going back to the schedule, after tonight, Wekiva plays Ocoee in Edgewater here at Baptiste Orthodontic Stadium. The next 2 Fridays, not Thursday, and then 3 straight home away games. Wekiva will travel to Dr. Phillips, Jones, and Southlake before taking on Lakeland and then Apopka, a.k.a. the Tartar Bowl. And the point after touchdown attempt is good. 46-7 now, 6:18 left in the season opener.
Mercia's extra point is good. The Mustang lead is cut to 46-7 with 6 minutes, 15 seconds remaining in the game.
And we'll be back from Baptiste Orthodontic Stadium. At number 1. And
Well, you don't
Wekiva,
see that every day.
so Wekiva will take over possession of the ball. And with 4.5 minutes left, I suspect this will be the last possession of the game. Wekiva will be trying to just run out the clock here.
Christopher Reed on the return. The Mustangs will take over from their own 42-yard line, 1st and 10.
So if you're wondering why the clock is continuing to run, it was running there between the touchdown and the kickoff.
Well, it's because our clock operator fell asleep over here. No, I'm just kidding.
Actually, FHSAA rules, if the league rose to 35 during the second half, the clock continues to run. And handoff.
Flag on the play.
On the outside.
Handoff is made to number 32, Jordan Michaelis. He is near the 1st down marker. We have a flag in the backfield.
So probably coming back 95% of the time. That's holding.
And it is. Holding called against the Mustang offense. That's a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul and a replay of 1st down.
So Wekiva should only have to run a couple more plays here, as we are about to dip under 3 minutes. Wekiva holding a 46-7 lead from Baptiste Orthodontic Stadium. I'm Neil Fisher along with Mark Barchi. This is the season opener of the 2020 football season. And Rooney played the whole second half. He's the backup quarterback, hands off to Michaelis again, who is going to be strung out to the right side and eventually pushed out of bounds. What's Rooney's first name?
Jordan Michaelis on the carry. The ball is spotted at the 41-yard line. A gain of 4 on the play. Second and 11 coming up for the Mustangs. 2 minutes left in the ball game. And Neil, this is normally the point where I start advertising to the crowd that if they need to call a ride, they need to make sure they've done so, so that we don't have people loitering after the game. But since everyone here is an adult, I don't really have to worry about that.
Yes, and that is one of the restrictions that has been placed by the FHSAA. And
Jordan Michaelis on the carry. Tackle made by number 99, Sebastian Molina.
Yeah, due to the pandemic and the need for social distancing, tickets being sold to football games are very limited. I think we only have about 20, maybe 2 dozen, well, maybe about 30 fans in the stands tonight.
Yes, well, at this point, the only way to attend a game is to be family of the participating athletes. Each of the participating athletes is able to reserve up to 2 tickets for their own family. But tickets are not being sold and are not available to the general public at all. Here's another good move by the East River defense.
And Michaelis taking the handoff, and he's actually limping off. I think Wekiva has to run one more play. We have 50 seconds left.
Enrique Lopez and Sebastian Molina on the stop as the play is made, or carry is made by Jordan Michaelis. Ball is spotted at the 39-yard line for no gain. And that is within the play clock, and so that is going to take us to the end of the ball game.
Okay, so I was wrong. Yes, when the ball was spotted, there was less than 35 seconds. So, as the final 15 seconds click off, the final score of the 2020 season opener: Wekiva 46, East River 7. Thank you for joining us for the game. Of course, we will stick around. We will have our post-game show, recap some of the highlights, as well as talk about what to look forward to, and also cover some of how Wekiva looked, the quality of their play. The clock just hit 0. Again, I'm Neil Fisher along with Mark Barchi, and we have just seen the home opener from Baptiste Orthodontic Stadium, Wekiva's home field.
Yeah, Neil, this one, let's take a look at the final stats here. Let's see, we've got East River did ultimately come up with 4 first downs after, let's see, they had the...
Obviously, the defense came up big tonight, especially the main rotation. Remember, that touchdown was given up after the main rotation was no longer being used. But I want to start with Junior Maradovic. He, of course, came in, made his first start tonight in a Wekiva Mustangs uniform, transfer from Oak Ridge. Talked to Coach Buddy Herr before the game, and he really praised Maradovic. He said, look, I'm not sure exactly what we're going to get from Junior. We know a little bit about him because we've had 2 weeks of practice, but again, with 2 weeks, we don't really get the full picture of what he can or can't do. But what I do like about him is that he came in with a great attitude, very dedicated, very committed, and he worked very hard to learn the playbook, the offense, and also worked very hard to gain the trust of his offensive teammates. And I think that certainly showed tonight. Obviously, he was not playing against a great defense. As we mentioned, East River came into this game off a 5-5 season, and they lost about 2/3 of their starters. So certainly East River has a lot of work to do, but nonetheless, I think for an opener, he showed a lot of good promise. He showed a lot of potential. He showed that he can take advantage of mistakes by defense. He also showed that he is not going to make the mistake which is going to put his team